Hi, and welcome to the Baby Sleep Magic podcast. My name is Chantal Murphy, and in today's episode, I'm just going to be talking a little bit about self-care and how important self-care is for mums and dads in that case. Just in regards to my own experience as well, when my boys were little, I was a full-time mum. I didn't have work. Hubby did long hours. He didn't necessarily work away, but he wasn't home a great deal either. So I needed time to myself. I absolutely craved it. And I was lucky enough to have my mum living not too far away. So in times of need, I actually called her and she came and she looked after the kids in the event that I just needed to get out. But in some cases and in some times I couldn't do that. So what I generally did is I would wait for hubby to get home. Particularly on a Thursday night, I would do late night shopping. So I'd get the kids to bed, I'd make sure they're all good. Then I would go out to my local shopping centre at this point. So I'd do late night shopping and I'd not necessarily get a huge amount of time to myself, but it was generally in a good hour, at least a good hour in some cases too. So if I was out the door, my kids are in bed by usually 7:01 I was out the door, and I was usually at the shops until around 9 p.m. when they started to close. So in that time, I would go and get a massage. That was my absolute treat. It wasn't anything fancy. I didn't have to pre-book it. I just walked in. I ended up getting those neck and shoulder massages for 20-25 minutes, and that was amazing. And that was my time, and that was my self-care, and that's what I did for myself. I tried to do it probably once a month. To be honest, if anything, if I could, I would have done it once a week, but sometimes that opportunity just isn't always there. So that's my story behind self-care. What I do now that they're older and they're at school, I try to give myself a day to myself if I can. When they're at school after drop off, my thing's shopping. I just love shopping. I don't necessarily need to go and buy anything, but I just need to go to the shops and just get that retail fix that I need. So I get a coffee, I walk around, I just have a look, I have a browse, I might meet a girlfriend. Look, when it comes to self-care, it's so important. Since 2013, I've worked with so many families, and mums in particular, they just suffer in silence. They often victims of postnatal depression, they experience a lot of anxiety, and they're just at their breaking point. And they often feel really judged by friends, family, and in today's society, there's so much information advice out there for parents, and you just don't even know where to begin, and you just feel overwhelmed and bombarded with all this irrelevant information. And in return, most mums end up feeling really incompetent or feel like a failure, which is certainly not the case. So sleep is really important as well as self-care. Sleep is a biological need. It's not a luxury. We have to sleep, and we have to sleep well. If you go to bed at night and have an hour here and an hour there, over a period of 8 to 10 hours, that's really broken sleep. And if you get that consistently, you're just not going to be able to function. So sleep is really important. And along with that is your well-being and mental health. Schedule some you time. Make yourself feel human, whether you catch up on some sleep or you go get a massage or a manicure or a coffee, exercise, yoga, meditation, whatever it is you need to do, even if it's 20-25 minutes, just to make yourself feel like you again. Because it is hard, when you've got bubbers at home and whether you got 1 or 2 or even 3, you don't get that time, and you really have to make it happen. Follow your gut. Only you truly know what is best for you and your baby as well. So throw away the books, stop Googling, avoid being sucked into every other parent's opinion and experience. You are your own person, and you've got to trust your gut when it comes to anything like that. And don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. Ask friends, family, neighbours, whatever you need. Everyone, especially parents who've been there and done it, they know how hard it is, and they are more than willing, more often than not, to help wherever they can. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of encouragement to just go and get a little bit of you time, because like I said, it's really important, and at the end of the day, you're doing an awesome job, and just remember, you're the best mum that your baby has ever had. So if you do get any value from this episode or any other episode, can I kindly ask that you jump over to iTunes and just leave us a brief review, as this will help our podcast ranking, which will expose it to more mums in the future. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.